Alright dudes, how's it going, and welcome to a StarCraft 2 replay commentary of Rekrul versus KHB. Rekrul in the 1 o'clock position as Protoss versus KHB's Terran in the 7 o'clock. As always, no need for o'clock positions on a 2-player map, but any excuse in which to say them. Rekrul apparently a Brood War player versus KHB as a Warcraft 2 player, so this should be a little interesting match. Rekrul inquiring to what race KHB might be, and KHB retorts with random. Rekrul calling bullshit on random probably was Terran, but then again maybe you would have seen on the loading screen. Who knows? Either way, Rekrul requested some manners, and KHB retorts with "you no manner," which could mean you've no manners or you ain't getting no manners, mate. Either way, I would not expect to see any manners this game. As always in the beginning of the game, not much going on. Both players will be opting to do the sensible and get more workers out and then get into that early supply. Supply depot for Terrans, pylon for Protoss, nothing out of the ordinary. KHB sending out his SCV as a bit of a scout. No such scout for Rekrul yet. Rekrul asking how many games KHB has played, and KHB has apparently played 40 or so, which is 40 or so more than what I have played. Or so you would believe, based on the complete fuck-ups that I come out with sometimes. It's alright, it's alright. It's only, I've only done a few replay commentaries so far. And I've barely even had the beta over a week, about a week and a half, so I cut myself some slack. That's a very aggressive SCV going in for an early attack on that pylon. I don't think he'll get it down, but he's going to try. Give that SCV props. Terran blocking the ramp as always. Couple of supply depots and barracks. That probe is not going to see anything, was a little bit too late. God knows what those two are talking about. You can see it. The video quality is clear enough. Another pylon for Rekrul. That's quite a lot of early supply for both players, really. I mean, I can understand for Terran, you got to block that choke, and blocking the ramp has indeed, worked out in his favour, because that probe will not be able to get in and investigate. Not like there's particularly much to investigate. All I'd really see is a orbital command and gas. But the gas is fully operational already, so and a second gas coming up, so one would assume he's going to make use of that fast gas. Second barracks coming up for Terran now, and a cybernetics core rather than a second gateway. And a second gas as well, so it seems like both players are gonna opt for some tech rather than mass producing tier 1. Rekrul making fairly decent use of his supply limit at the moment, 25 out of 34. Terran not quite utilising it all yet, but soon enough. And that's a third barracks coming up for KHB. Tech Lab going on to his first barracks, most likely Marauders. He's actually moved his barracks from that choke point. Maybe he'll airlift one of the other barracks and replace it there, or we shall see. It seems not. Will that be it's not a reactor, it's a Tech Lab. Two more gateways coming up for Rekrul. And a first Stalker in the mix. What is the production? SCVs, a barrack and a Marauder for Terran, another pylon, a couple of gateways, a Twilight Council and probe for Rekrul. That'll give Rekrul 3 gateways, and no doubt researching warp gates soon. Both incomes fairly similar at the moment, although Rekrul does have the gas advantage. Almost twice as much in fact. Very early aggressive Stalker. He has a probe as a backup. I don't think... oh no, he has a Zealot as a backup. I was going to say that probe probably not going to provide too much support. And that Stalker was quite lucky to... that's probably not going to end very well for Protoss. As that Zealot gets snared, he won't get a single Marauder down there. Or maybe he will. No, he won't. As those 2 Marauders stand there while 1 kites. Very unfavourable odds for the Protoss there. Armour wise, both players very similar in supply so far. Terran just overtaken there, and a 4th gateway coming out for Rekrul now. Whatever his plan is, it involves mass production. Saying that though, so does KHB with his free tech lab barracks. And a nice little supply depot there. One would assume that Rekrul will do the same with a pylon. It's a pretty good idea to stick a pylon or a supply depot or basically anything just on the other side of that tree line. Same on Rekrul's side. Just so you can see if they're trying to backdoor the way into your base. A little bit of skirmish going on there, Marauders versus Zealots, and those Zealots have exactly 0% chance versus that amount of Marauders. They'll be kited and severely screwed over. That one Marauder will go down due to a lack of space in which to kite, but with some good micro, he's probably not going to lose another Marauder. Probably going to lose one Marauder just to prove me wrong, yeah, one Marauder just to prove me wrong. But that's leaving Rekrul incredibly screwed at the moment. 4 Zealots, but twice that amount of Marauders and incoming reinforcements all the way down the map. If we look at the production, 4 more Zealots in the work for Rekrul and another gateway, Stimpaks and another Marauder and a supply depot in the works for KHB. KHB seeming to be choosing more to focus on the fight at hand, and he will lose those Zealots thanks to the rather fast Twilight Council build and charge research. That will certainly even the tide versus those Marauders. In fact, the Zealots are actually doing a pretty good job thanks to the charge. No charge, no dice versus those Marauders, but it seems with charge doing a pretty decent job. Even with the incredibly nice kiting ability of the Marauders, charge can still get in there. And that Zealot just charged to nowhere then. Wherever he wanted to go, he wanted to get there fast. Army sizes once again mirroring each other. The Terran gas ever so slightly behind the Protoss gas still at the moment. Harvester pretty much mirrored, 30 to 31. Terran's slight advantage, and Terran will have an increasing advantage if he starts to call down some mules. He's going to have to wait a little bit though. Maybe he has been calling them down, or maybe he's been sensor scanning, not quite sure. Here we go. Rekrul starting to expand now into his natural. And a proxy pylon. And gateway has been researched, so he will be able to warp in units to that proxy pylon. Seems like Rekrul doesn't want the Terran to expand into the natural. But with that amount of Marauders, he might lose his Zealot army and the pylon. But with those presumably Stalkers, yeah, Stalkers incoming, maybe it will even those Marauders have eaten those Zealots alive. But saying that, with nice reinforcements there, yeah, Protoss is going to win that one. And choosing to push the advantage and move into the base, but that's still a very narrow choke point. Only 2 Zealots can get in there at once, and all 4 or 5 of those Marauders can indeed shoot them down. Just too many Marauders there at the moment from 3 barracks. And Hellions incoming, power reacted. Factory mass producing those Hellions, they should work out pretty nice versus those Zealots. A very prudent countermeasure by KHB there. Lots of Zealots starting to screw over the Marauders because of the charge ability, so get some Hellions out and start using that extra damage versus light units. KHB in a little bit of a pickle there, having to send out his SCVs in order to provide some extra defence. Nothing he won't be able to handle at the moment. The problem is, the second expansion for Rekrul is now, well, it's certainly getting to fully operational, and KHB, although has his command centre flying over, Rekrul is going to see that and is going to know exactly what's going on, whereas at the moment I don't think KHB has any idea other than a slight inclination that Rekrul has a second expansion, well, first expansion.